Fear and Loathing After the Campaign Trails, 52. Scene 1. Interior Oval Office, day. President John F. A. Cena sips tea standing, looking out the window upon a bright day. There's no one outside. The White House lawn is partly a food forest. Smoke, the Vice President, Secretary of State, Cena's personal bodyguard, doctor, guru, assistant, etc., enters from the west side.
Damn, Smoke. This tea tastes triple dosed.
No, sir, Mr. President. Just the regular Tuesday morning X13 to get your Mars energy moving.
Smoke, why do you persist with the formalities?
Because they please me, sir. And there's really no one to complain. So, sip your fucking tea, bitch. Anyway, we actually have a meeting scheduled for this morning.
A meeting? With who?
The Militant Anarchist Collective.
The psychos who went around sniping anyone who got elected for anything? I thought they got wiped out by the Orange Big Brothers, as you like to call them, during post-Civil War II cleanup. Wasn't their leader the first to be publicly executed by Chanel's smart guillotine number 3, was it?
That was a public relations initiative. The martyred Great Passio is touring the Caribbean, last I heard, and by definition, anarchists don't have leaders, but an emissary or two have been sent to request federal support for their latest endeavor. I'm not even supposed to know their names yet. You know how these types are about clinging to their illusions of anonymity, but the young, muscular, blonde, tall one grew up idolizing you. Their last plot strived for new horizons of militancy, leaving leaders to lead, but executing blind order followers.
Well, at least that was a step in the right direction.
Indeed, Mr. President. Perhaps those who survived the execution extravaganzas of Bobert's crusades of the 30s have learned by now that, especially in life and death situations, there may be many good reasons for one to blindly follow the orders of someone else who understands the predicament better, knows what to do about it, and is concerned about one's well-being.
Cena picks up the red of 5, also available white, green, blue, and black, vape pen from the desktop and takes a monster hit.
So, of course, they're all a bunch of potheads.
Obviously, and orthorexic.
Oh, fuck. Health nuts, too? Are they breeders?
Prolifically so. They're positively rolling in babies.
Damn. Well, there'll be a lot more of them soon enough. I suppose we should listen to what they have to say.
Seated at the desk, Smoke rolls a fat blunt.
Hey, about your Orange Big Brothers.
Again, you know better.
But they're still human. They signed up to take out pedos, not explode people for swatting mosquitoes.
Oh, nice. Your introductory argument even rhymes.
I was hoping you'd appreciate that.
Look, John, they signed up to be super soldiers, property of the United States government. Times, environmental conditions, and administrations may change, but those contracts are for life, potentially much, much longer for them now. Also, the human part is up for debate. Yes, I know they can still pass a Turing test, but they have no true free will, only the will of the hive mind, which I still have set to preserve life with bugs as the most important type, like your old masters had it when I arrived.
But Are they still necessary? After the virus wiped out practically everyone who wasn't a hardcore stoner or health nut, our global population is still under 100 million, and 90% of those are taking care of themselves in the underground. So maybe we could tweak the sensitivity to target, let's say, mammal killers only somehow.
That's actually fair. Smoke lights blunt and passes it. Well played. You knew I'd go for that. Cena hits blunt and passes it.
Your favorite part is watching hunters being hunted by golden robots with distinctively bad orange hairdos. Careless fools being eliminated for not obeying absurd laws when Trumpinators are lurking nearby is only a bonus.
You're right. Smoke passes blunt. I love watching the head cams. Look, girl, I got a 12-pointer. Mm-hmm. Now you got an orange big brother on your ass, Jed.
Like a bulky C-3PO with old woman hair.
The Huxleys likely envisioned a strikingly similar scenario. Prisons were always a terrible idea. Immediate enforcement by execution for violations of principles fundamental to preserving our environmental integrity, arguably, single-handedly, pulled us from the brink of extinction.
Are you sure it wasn't the dry ice factory in Antarctica? Or advances in cloud seeding technology that saved us from climate change?
Thank you for reminding me why we keep the robot samurai around during times of peace, John. Smoke bows head slightly, respectfully. Scene 2. Exterior, Pennsylvania Avenue, day. Earl and Jed of the Militant Anarchist Collective walk toward the White House, often looking over their shoulders. There is no one in sight. No cars, no trash. Trees are breaking the sidewalks, and grass grows through the cracks. We couldn't have parked a little closer.
Oh, we could have, Earl. Hey, look. There's a great spot being surveilled by about 13 fucking cameras right over there.
Things aren't the same anymore, Jed.
And that's just what they want you to think. Then, pow! Right in the kisser.
What even is that, dude? It sounds like your bunker was stocked by a really, really old person. Adrenaline-enriched blood drinkers run your family much?
Fuck off, Earl. My daddy loved the honeymooners and hated pedo-Satanist scum. Always hated them. Hated them while everybody else was still signing up not just their firstborn, but all their children to be enslaved, like we're all on some perpetual fucking cattle drive, where all the calves dropped along the way go to the state. And Ralph Cramden is a hero of the low-born. Won't you give me detailed plot synopses of all the Buffy the Vampire Slayer episodes again?
No chance. I learned my lesson the first time. Understanding and appreciating the cult of Buffy requires self-initiation. And Ralph Cramden was a hero of the working man, that proverbial enslaved serf eternally chasing his own tail for the almighty dollar bill, y'all, with a wife who only makes his life harder. I can't imagine how celebrating a character like that could be part of an epigenetically dysfunctional social engineering project.
Whatever, dude. Be Buffy's soul-sucked bitch. See if I care.
Jed lights an enormous joint.
Hey, what the fuck are we doing here anyway? Some of the best advice I ever got came from my grandpa.
Don't ask for nothing. Totally, dude. I get that. But things aren't like the old days. The power dynamics have shifted. What even is the
president in the United States of Anarchy. Exactly. So what the fuck are we doing here? We're gonna do what we're gonna do. They can't stop us, so fuck them. We're not coming to ask their permission, bro. We're coming to ask if they want to be on board or left behind. I respect your sentiment, my brother in Christ. I really do. But I don't trust that Smoke character at all. And we all know he's the one who pulls all the strings. Obviously, but they doesn't pull our strings. They can't, and they knows that. That's scary to them. Both of them are scared, or just him? I swore. One primary purpose of all the they, them, they, fairs, they, their bullshit is just to make communication between the easily manipulated ignorant masses harder. It's all part of the Tower of Babel for the modern age. Jed finally passes the joint. His fucking clavicle makes a straight horizontal line. He's a fucking dude. Come on, bro. Don't fuck this up. If Smokey the Bear wants to pretend that he's Smoke the naughty fairy, who are we to care? God damn it, I know. That motherfucker likes to push buttons. Don't lose sight of the prize, Jed. Smoke might be the biggest troll we've yet to face. And a boulder-sized stepping stone on the path to global enlightenment. A world where all beings enjoy pure Christ consciousness. God damn, motherfucker. I tell you grew up in the aughts and were raised by Yankee hippies who were probably both conceived at random Grateful Dead shows that they saved the stubbies from, track list scrawled on the back with the song circled that was playing during their conception. No, that's only my mom's story. Dad was raised by public school teachers. And that explains everything. Regardless, you know I'm right. Do you need a quick refresher on the basics of game theory and how it relates to the history of America and the current state of the world again? I'm good, brah. Save it for Smokey. Dude, Earl passes the joint. Trumpinator. 9 o'clock. Don't look at it. They're lonely. And they'll vaporize you if you step on an ant. Just be careful. We'll be past it in a minute. What a fucking joke, bro. That's what they think of us. That's what you think they think of those who believe in stupid shit like the divine rights of royalty, priests, celebrities, and bankers. That ain't us. Most of those folks were long gone to the underground before we hacked the Trumpinators to offer credits in exchange for killing shit. That was brilliant. Then they had to immediately terminate the offenders. Not a simple procedure. Unlike a smart toaster that can be hacked to perform certain specific tasks on command, like recording and transmitting audio or exploding, Trumpinators technically possess free will. We had to adjust the settings of the hive mind, which were already programmed to result in a sort of militant Jainism, to endow them with used car salesmanship to push their agenda. Jed passes the joint. What's it doing over there? Gardening. Now that everyone's adjusted their behavior properly, permaculture seems to be their prime directive. Scene 3. Exterior, West Colonnade Day. Cena exits from Oval Office, smoking a fat blunt luxuriously, and walks to exterior Rose Garden Day. Cena pauses and stoops to smell one rose in particular, and strides languidly to interior press briefing room Day. Smoke sits front and near center. Cena sits behind them, still casually puffing on the blunt just enough to keep it lit.
This is weird, Smoke.
Cena relocates to beside Smoke.
That's the idea.
With practically everyone in the underground, we don't even have the press. But if we did, I guess we'd be it. So, it sort of makes sense. But, yeah, I don't get it.
These anarchists, or rednecks as they prefer to be called, I'm still impressed that they managed to turn that term into an honorific.
Well, that probably had a lot to do with them sniping anyone who took offense at being called a redneck or intending it as a slur.
Witches surely gave them that idea. If I remember correctly, that was one of the Swifties' most effective strategies of the Puritan purge following Bobert's crusades. Most spells aren't nearly as effective as a hollow point. Anyway, these rednecks don't believe the title of president bears any weight, so I figured we'd let them give their little presentation here, as if they're you, just to keep them on their toes and off balance.
I don't know what I'd do without you, Smoke.
I do. You'd be in the underground with President Swift and the rest of her cabinet, playing shuffleboard and eating space food until their doomsday bunkers decide that it's safe for them to come out, which seems unlikely to happen in the next few millennia or so, considering the amount of radioactive waste piled beside the sensors by our orange, noble big brethren.
Thanks again, dear.
Cena kisses Smoke on the cheek.
Are you trying to get smacked?
Sorry. I'm baked and restless. Where are those rednecks anyway?
Smoke shifts dark Alpine-style sunglasses from atop head to over eyes.
They're walking by the Hoover building now.
The fuck? They probably came in some Jeep-like Armageddon wagon. They could have parked on the lawn if they'd wanted.
Smoke flips sunglasses back atop head.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I invited them to do just that. Unfortunately, they drove past and parked down by the river, underneath the bridge.
That's so disrespectful.
Indeed. And sort of retarded, too. I mean, we know where everything is all of the time. I thought everyone still around by 45 knew that we'd put UPC codes on 99% of everything on the planet that was above ground and not just sprouted.
I only know that because you told me.
But after the Nature's Revenge virus was raging like wildfire among the human population, and they were still reporting on CNN how many of the original herd of infected cows had died, and how many birds had died from eating them, and how many maggots died from eating the birds, and...
What? No, they never reported anything about dead maggots on TV, as far as I know, and nobody in the know ever told me shit. When I ask questions, I got a lot of... Read the screen, John. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
That technology has been around for decades.
I did not know that. Hey, why do we still call Nature's Revenge a virus if it's pretty commonly well known that viruses probably don't even exist?
Viruses cannot be proven not to exist, so that's still the best explanation for the layperson that avoids the uncomfortable query as to how we allowed 99% of the world's population to be poisoned to death.
Scene 4. Exterior, Pennsylvania Avenue, day. Earl and Jed walk toward the White House. Earl seems less paranoid. Jed still completes a 360-degree visual perimeter check rather frequently. Don't you think maybe we should wait and pitch this to the next administration? Baron fucking Trump? At least that smoke creature will be gone. Oh, Jed.
The builders will just use someone else equally as vile, probably already are. The builders. Psst. Do you still believe in Santa Claus, too? No, I waited up all night when I was 3 and caught my dad putting presents underneath the tree, eating chocolate chip cookies, and drinking milk. Perhaps my father was filling in for the Claus because I'd been naughty, but I doubt it. Well, I saw a United Nations light show with directed energy weapons added, presented as your pissed off builders coming back from Sirius to punish us for being bad cosmic children. It's all psyops, bro. Technically, humans are extraterrestrials. Right. And we've been here for millions and millions of years. Time is relative, but yes, and we've been part of the universe for much, much longer than that. Nope, not today, Satan. Your God, and Jesus is God, are the entire universe, my brother in Christ. Ugh. My great granddaddy might have knocked you flat on your ass and stomped you to death for saying that. You knew your great grandfather? You have a suspiciously long lived bloodline, Jed. Keep it up, and I'll punch you right square in the nose. That's fair. I've been warned. I always liked Barron. He's my age, and after what happened to his daddy, it's just more psyops, bro. They're all reading from the same script. Now, his daddy's head, smirk and all, is mounted on the far left side of Rushmore, and all laws are enforced by monster cyborgs created in his image. That orange motherfucker got exactly what he wanted. Bro, I know, but I just hate that Taylor Swift cunt so fucking much. Right down to my bones. And then when Cena agreed to be her vice president, what a fucking pussy sellout motherfucker. Jed, buddy, it's all psyops. All of them are in on it. All of them are on the same fucking team. I know, but Jed, you lived through the 20s, bro. Well, I guess mostly spent in a bunker with 100-year-old black and white TV. Careful. I'm just saying, dude. It's all of them. All of them. Exactly. So, what's it matter if we wait a couple months for Barron? So we can at least avoid catching AIDS from looking at smoke for too long. I know you might not have had Game of Thrones in your bunker, but there's a character called Joffrey. Yes, I watched him die many times. That's who Barron is behind closed doors. We can't reason with him. And we should have Project American Evolution in full swing by the time he becomes the next puppet in chief. Can't it just be American Revolution too? I don't like that word. What word? You know, evolution. Hey, where'd that smoke thing say the break in the fence was? Their directions were for coming from the west. We're now coming from the east, so it should be there-ish. Jed and Earl veer into the long grass by the sidewalk, find the car-wide break in the White House fence, and enter exterior rose garden day. Jed and Earl cut diagonally across the garden, weaving between rose bushes.
Earl tears off a rosebud. Jed reaches and walks through the open door of interior press briefing room. Day. Smoke, wiping mouth with back of hand, rises from knees before Cena, seated in the front row. Cena stands up, adjusts pants, and turns around, smiling broadly.
You must be the rednecks.
Scene 5. Interior press briefing room. Day. Cena and Smoke stand below the podium facing Jed standing in the doorway as Earl, eating a rosebud petal by petal, enters from behind him.
When come back. You're right on time.
Smoke pulls an elegantly rolled joint with a purple filter tip from a metal case kept in an inner breast pocket and lights it.
Greetings. I'm Smoke. My pronouns today are they, them, their. And you are?
I'm Earl, and this is Jed. We are dudes.
That's great.
Cena moves to shake hands briefly with Earl and much longer with Jed, looking deeply into his eyes.
Me too.
Smoke to Jed.
Want a toke?
No, thank you.
We brought our own. We each have strains developed to match our unique physiology.
Science.
Indeed.
Smoke French inhales a deep drag.
Do you require any accessories with this presentation? I believe we have a TV VCR combo in a closet with a projector somewhere.
That's very kind of you, but no, I'm even more old school than that. I imagined we'd be sitting around a table, talking.
Unless you object, you may make use of the podium, and we will sit enwrapped.
Earl moves to the podium. Cena sits dead center in the front row, attentive to Earl. Smoke and Jed sit to his left and right, respectively. Jed lights a joint. Much has changed since Thomas Paine wrote Common Sense nearly 300 years ago.
Oh, I did not realize this was going to be that kind of presentation.
Smoke pulls cocaine vial from inner breast pocket.
I'm good. Please continue.
Smoke and Cena snort some coke. A lone human no longer requires outside assistance to survive practically anywhere on this planet now that we've reached Asimovian levels of technological advancement, with enough of the right or wrong robots and the right or wrong mentality and a sufficient or inadequate level of maturity. A single human can live quite comfortably and sustainably, or hellishly and destructively on their own. Just as orcas get bored when there's a tuna glut and take out yachts, or well-fed cats get bored and torture birds to death over the course of days until all that's left is a twitching spine with a few feathers and only barely discernible as ever having been a bird, well-fed humans who haven't matured to the level of consciously developing a desire to devote their lives, apart from the most basic material concerns necessary for maintaining one's physical form, to gaining knowledge and wisdom, are destined to achieve a similar fate. Except that for humans, an uninhabitable planet will remain, instead of an unrecognizable bird carcass or a broken 40-foot yacht on the bottom of the sea. The builders set up a society that, on the surface, appeared to reward the most blissfully ignorant of morality and important knowledge, culminating in the godlike status of actual exemplars of degeneracy that we experienced during the tumultuous 20s. The vast majority of those kind of people are now in the underground, probably playing shuffleboard and eating space food for at least a few generations, until they believe the Trumpinators have killed off every conceivable threat to their now potentially vastly extended lifespans. As an aside, we rednecks would like to humbly, collectively suggest that the Trumpinators be persuaded to pile nuclear waste near the radiation sensors of all doomsday bunkers to keep those folks below, because we're all better off without them up here.
That's a bold suggestion, sir.
That is merely an aside, but I do want to stress our concern that their reemergence presents no foreseeable advantages to any life forms on our lovely planet.
So, you're suggesting that we kill for life?
As the conspiracy theorist astutely observed in 23's Study 3, when he corrected the great Passio's erroneous beliefs about natural law regarding the foundation of objective morality in terms of
Heresy. The great Passio's beheading is the sole reason anyone can refer to our great country as the United States of Anarchy without being beheaded.
ain't beheaded yet. Last I heard, he's touring island nations. Whatever the case, Abel was the true Satanist running afoul of natural law, while Cain's act of vengeance was a righteous gift to life. What we're suggesting is nothing so severe as Cain's adjustment, just simple justice. The most vainglorious chose to abandon life here on earth for a hell below. We say, let them have it for 1,000 years. Amen, brother. Preach it. Thank you, Brother Jed. Jed's feeling the spirit now, y'all. Smoked to Cena quietly.
I wish I'd brought some Molly.
Cena to Smoke quietly.
Shrooms would be nice.
But witches, swifties, and nerds are not why we came down from our Appalachian paradise. No, sir. To the whore of Babylon's lap. If you guys have come to share the glory of Christ's return,
we are both very grateful.
You can count on us to pass on the good news. Consider us converted. I always liked that Jesus dude.
What we've come to tell you is that your entire power structure is inherently flawed and unsustainable, and that our global shift into consciousness as a human population into altruistic anarchism, the apex of societal development, is inevitable, and, in fact, already begun. Since you cannot stop what we've started, we've come to fully inform you of our already unfolding master plan, so that if you do not choose acquiescence, you will be forced helplessly into compliance. Cena to Smoke.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that Molly.
Scene 6, interior press briefing room, day. Smoke enters from colonnade with a vial of Molly.
Look, Earl, is it? What you're saying is pure blasphemy.
Hands Cena Molly.
Mass awareness of the great Passio's 7 noble rules of natural laws applied to human behavior, proven true via his infallible trivium method, arguably, single-handedly, pulled us from the brink of never-ending, tyrannical mental and physical enslavement.
Unfortunately, as well-meaning as the 7 no-nos may seem, what we who were enjoying a more comprehensive understanding of reality via advanced trivium and quadrivium methodology, combined with experiential studies while surviving Civil War II, Bobert's Crusades, the Swifties' Purge, Nature's Revenge, and the Aftermath, quickly learned is that the more enlightened an individual is, the more aware they are of when self-defensive preemptive strikes, appearing on the surface to be acts of violence, are, in fact, morally correct choices, among many other counterintuitive acts of seeming neglect, cruelty, or stupidity. We discovered that the yogic types sensed danger in a manner akin to many non-human animals before an earthquake or other natural catastrophic event. We learned that when the person who owns nothing but a sheet and eats exclusively from the compost pile says that it's time to abandon the bunker, Vanagon, and your wife, you listen, even if they can't explain how they know these actions are the most correct, because you've been in similar situations with them before, and come to find out, your wife's an informant, and the van randomly explodes a couple days later, just prior to the bunker being raided.
You conspiracy theorists sure do love a good hyperbolic anecdote. How can we have orderly anarchy without adhering to not harming others or taking their stuff? No murder, rape, assault, property theft, trespass, coercion, or lying. How hard is that?
On an island, untouched by exterior forces with only 2 inhabitants, those rules may apply. But as soon as a Satanist, hell bent on violating natural law, shows up, everything changes. On an island of mostly Satanists, knowing when and how to most morally and successfully defend oneself requires a level of hyper-awareness rivaling legendary masters such as Jesus and Bruce Lee.
Equating poorly dubbed kung fu B-movies with spiritual enlightenment sounds like a recipe for chaos, not anarchy.
Admittedly, now that the most fearful, ignorant, and delusional are in the underground, we're all mostly adhering to those 7 no-nos with great success. But that's also largely because those 7 no-nos are derived from the fact that the true nature of objective morality is undeniably founded on expansion of consciousness being a right, good, moral, correct, functional act, and constriction being a wrong, evil, immoral, incorrect, dysfunctional behavior, with the taking of life as typically the greatest constriction of consciousness, and each violation lower on the list progressively less constricting until we reach lying, which eventually leads to amplified expansion of consciousness once the truth is discovered for oneself. Also, many of us are enjoying pure Christ consciousness, which greatly facilitates peace and prosperity for all.
That sounds lovely, dear. I'm quite certain that all your children are walking on water, or at the very least levitating, before reaching pubescence.
Only the special ones. Walking on water is actually a metaphor for earning the crown to rise above the confines of the material world instead of being dragged down like a stone into the sea of base consciousness.
Fantastic. But what does this have to do with you proposing that do whatever the fuck you want shall be the whole of the law? That's Satanism.
That's what I said. No, Satanism is telling folks that they should strictly adhere to set-in-stone moral guidelines when that's blatantly wrong. That's how we ended up with backyard baby barbecues in the nice neighborhoods before Boebert released the first Trumpinators in '33 set to preserve life, with human fetuses as most important.
That's all grossly exaggerated and misinterpreted. Plus, only the builders know the settings of the hive mind, and after President Trump's resurrection, ascension, and the subsequent blessing of our noble orange big brethren, those of us who remain lowly humans only strive to swim with the current. We suggest you do the same.
That's precisely why we're here. As the builders knew, the most intelligent and moral individuals are the most valuable, evolutionarily speaking, and must be located, targeted, protected, and most importantly, tempered. That's what we've been doing for decades, since I first stumbled upon Jed's familial estate along the Appalachian Trail while avoiding post-Civil War II cleanup. It ain't that fancy. Just 240 acres across the holler with a few springs, one of 'em hot. Cena to himself.
Sounds like paradise.
Smoke hands Cena the Coke vial. To Cena.
Here, do this.
To Earl and group.
Whatever you're doing out in the middle of nowhere is surely a true anarchist utopian fantasy, but here in the real world, we run things differently, you know, so that they actually work.
Actually, the allopathic treatment of anything, especially crime, never worked except to exacerbate the problem. The only solution has ever been to treat the underlying condition. In this case, epigenetically dysfunctional social engineering, not the symptoms. I've recently been watching this class on game theory from about 50 years ago.
How fascinating. I'm sure that's totally relevant to today's discussion. But now that we've done away with prisons and jails, what more do you want?
We also want the system of credits dissolved. Humanity will never know true freedom until their decision making process is unencumbered by idol worship.
That's absurd. What kind of zany religiosity spell are you even under? How can we have an economy without credits?
Uh, We've been living quite happily and productively in our Appalachian paradise, focusing on the art of living, not the art of money making, which always results in destruction of life.
We have safeguards in place. Have you ever heard of checks and balances?
Yes, they're already provided by nature. And now that more people realize the game is rigged than don't, how many voters did you get in your last election? Wait, don't answer that. You just lie. I can assure you that we rednecks are doing just fine without credits. We discovered that there's plenty to go around when everyone shares in the bounty, and that when folks' needs are met, by and large, they voluntarily contribute more than they would through competition, which is inevitably, arguably, inherently rigged when money is involved, which brings me back to a 50-year-old class on game theory.
I'm just going to rest my eyes, which are inevitably, arguably, inherently exhausted.
Smoke snorts some coke. At the end of one class, the professor asked everyone to pick a number from 1 to 100 before they left, stating that at the beginning of the next class, whoever chose closest to 2/3 of the class average would win some trivial amount of fiat currency. The winning number that year ended up being 9. Some people picked numbers over 67, which is really dumb. This was a freshman class of 300 at Yale. He said that 21 or 22 won the first year, then progressively smaller numbers won in the years thereafter. After discussing the principle of a Nash equilibrium, playing the best moves based on the assumption that the other players will also play the best moves also in coordination, the game was immediately replayed, and over 90% of the class picked the number 1. Recognizing that a Nash equilibrium is functionally equivalent to evolutionary stability helps us all see why and how the true nature of objective reality and morality will inevitably spread through the lies like wildfire through a dry hayfield, heralding Christ's triumphant return all along the way.
I don't understand what math, human psychology, and the theory of evolution have to do with the second coming.
That's what I said.
Just as most of the class chose 1 once they understood the full truth and knew that everyone else understood the full truth as well. We are now transitioning into a world where 90% of all deprogrammed superterranean adults are choosing to walk the center path of enlightenment. Those straying from that path are finding no one to exploit, no one to dominate, no one to rule, no one to outsmart. Now that everyone's awakening to the awareness that we're all sovereign beings with free will in an ever expanding universe of consciousness, and that our most morally correct, God given right is to assist in that expansion.
Which God? That sounds like a steaming pile of New Age spirituality BS nonsense to me, not Christianity.
That's what I said.
What Jesus is trying to tell us is that the omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, indestructible entity that is God is the entire universe. That's pretty heavy. So I suggest coming to terms with the fact that our planet is a conscious entity first. Cena to smoke quietly.
Will you get me the shrooms, dear?
Scene 7. Exterior Appalachian Trail, night. Earl and Jed walk rather briskly on single-track uphill switchbacks. Earl in front with a flashlight that he flicks on intermittently for very brief intervals. Jed looks over Earl's shoulder. The full moon rises.
I still don't understand what the point of all that was. You made me, the choir, sit through your 3-hour common sense Sermon on the Mount more'n once over the past week and a half. How come they, the ones who actually need to hear it, got off with maybe 30 minutes tops? Riddle me that, Earl.
Because they weren't ready to hear the details of how we're turning all of their prison pods into enlightenment chambers.
That first pod girl we let loose was a trip. Took her 6 months to learn to speak so's anybody could hear her once we got her out of there.
Yeah, and then she was reciting the complete works of Shakespeare.
Who was she? About 14?
Probably more like 12, but according to her boyfriend who got us to break her out, Juliet was over 18. Her parents had set her pod to keep her safe until 21, and she wanted out early.
One fucking day, bro. I thought we were gonna kill that chick getting her out of there.
We did have to kill that 10 by 10 by 10 indestructible cube by cutting off its power supply, which was also her life support in a hermetically sealed life preserver.
Poor thing. Getting dropped in that box almost as soon as she's out of diapers.
Well, that was the standard protocol for MAGAs after the reanimated corpse of Joe Biden beat out DeSantis in 28.
Everybody was all like, don't worry, they ain't really barbecuing baby back ribs in the suburbs.
But they were. And that My Pillow guy and Tucker Carlson started putting up those $1 million My Pods everywhere.
Didn't they limit them to 144,000?
Yes. Just like the Trumpinators. Of course, they had to keep everything as much in line with Bible prophecy as possible.
I dated a pod girl for a while.
Still locked in?
No, long distance relationships never worked for me.
She's fucking weird anyway. Had she been deprogrammed beforehand like Juliet? Her boyfriend hacked the audio visuals to override the default Orange Mojo programming with subliminally enhanced counter programming specifically designed to dispel her objectively erroneous engineering and replace it with something closer to reality.
Nah, I don't reckon so. That pot girl was plumb loopy. Always wanting me to play some video game with life-size holograms or put shit up my ass. I was all like, shit only goes out my ass, girl. She tried to convince me I had something like her clitoris somewhere up there, or maybe a masculine G spot. I don't know. And she just wanted to help me find it because she cared about me so fucking much.
How'd that work out? Did she get you pregnant?
Hell no, fucker. We never found it.
Well, however that worked out for particular individuals, now that we've managed to hijack those pods and reprogram them to yield free humans instead of mind slaves, we've been successfully dropping 9-year-olds in who are typically coming out by 12 to 14 to be fully Christ conscious models of humanity. I wanted to frighten Smoke, but I didn't want them to know precisely what they should fear.
Wait, that's what they weren't ready to hear?
That was a major component of the tapestry that they weren't yet prepared to appreciate, yes.
So, you had Smoke get out the TV VCR combo with a projector attachment so we could watch 30-year-old conspiracy theorist videos instead?
Just like your pod girl wanted to play video games and put shit up your ass because she hadn't learned to fully appreciate reality, primarily because she didn't even know what reality was, neither did they. So I had to improvise. Earl stops to light a joint. That was fun, anyway.
Sicko. I saw you getting off on getting that creature to do shit for you.
Earl passes the joint, continues walking. The best part was that I never had to ask them for anything.
It did seem oddly pleased to provide assistance, but
53 is less than 431.
It justice in unison with Earl.
it just is.
Christ is king.
Earl and Jed together.
Christ is king.
Jed passes the joint.
But you could have sent all that in an email or something. We could have spent the day processing apples.
You know how much I love coring.
I know how much you like eating cores, you fucking weirdo.
Earl passes the joint. Which is why you know I wouldn't have had you drive me into the belly of the beast if I didn't believe it was important. Hey, at least you got some government issue psilocybin. I think Cena likes you, by the way. I saw him let you keep the bag.
Shut the fuck up. You saw me sneak the bag away from that butt goblin.
Whatever helps you dream better at night, bro.
Staying at home's what helps me dream better.
53's less than 431.
It justice. In unison with Earl.
It just is.
Christ is king.
Earl and Jed together. Christ is king. Jed passes the joint.
But seriously, bro, you could have just sent him a virtual copy of the complete works of the conspiracy theorist, or had a physical copy delivered instead of having us hang out until we nearly got stuck in D fucking C after dead ass fucking dark. Fuck that shit, bro. Ain't nothing worth putting my ass in what used to be a city at night ever again. I don't care what Cephas says about the unforeseen advantages of making strange acquaintances. I left the city, all cities, 10 years ago for damn good reasons. I honestly can't imagine what that's like, with roving gangs of carnivores desperate for fresh meat, wearing night vision goggles and space blankets turned inside out to throw off the Trumpinator's thermal sensors. Cephas says one of his cells lives exclusively on sewer rats, who have been thriving, by the way, since folks stopped trying to exterminate them into extinction. Mushrooms, algae, and bleach water. Fuckers got them little robot dogs, too. Those neural-linked mechanized mutts might have wiped us out during Bobert's crusades if we hadn't learned to use nets against them. They're damn near impossible to take out, even with a double-aught slug. Gotta get 'em right in the back of the neck. I can assure you, there was no way we were hanging out anywhere near the White House later than mid-afternoon. But what I had to do had to be done in person. 53's less than 431. It justice. Jed in unison with Earl. It just is. Christ is king. Earl and Jed together. Christ is king. So, how come you told them to program the Trumpinators to quarantine the underground for the next millennium, since we knew they'd already done that? I was testing the water, so to speak. I needed to know if they'd resist agreeing. Say it already been done, use it as a bargaining tool against us, or whatever. You're a sneaky motherfucker. You know that? I was called to be Smoke's mirror. Scene 8. Interior Hive Mind Center, night. Smoke stands before a giant telescreen, taking up most of a wall, and inserts a coin into a slot in an approximately 3-foot cube in the center of the room. The top face of the cube becomes concave and 2/3 full of a purple-tinted liquid. Smoke dips thumb and first 2 fingers into liquid and performs a reverse sign of the cross.
Oh, noble builders, thank you for your timeless service with no beginning or end. May all bask in the eternal light of the ages, benevolently bestowed upon us all in perpetuity through the Holy Orange sacrifice, resurrection, and ascension. Long live the great Donald J. Trump, President of all for all time.
Smoke removes tiny spoon from inner breast pocket and uses it to sip some of the purple liquid.
I humbly call upon thee for assistance, O wise ones of all that is, was, or will ever be in this universe or any other.
Dearest Smoke,
we're always so pleased to see you. How do you like the Kool-Aid today? Yes, very nice. Light and refreshing. Blue raspberry lemonade. One of our very favorites. Only secondary to the Great Orange. Yes. Dear Smoke, we sense your urgency. We suspect that you have come to request an adjustment to the settings of the hive mind. Perhaps you would like for mammals to be deemed more important than insects to our noble orange big brethren. We did hear chatter surrounding this topic today. Specifically pigs, oh wise ones, I determined that being able to manifest 30-minute orgasms placed them at the pinnacle of mammalian evolutionary development of consciousness. Sadly, as human beings, we're all struggling to achieve even a fraction of the enlightenment that our Swidean sisters experience all day long, practically at will. What a noble aspiration, dear Smoke. We feel you. Yes, there are so few pigs remaining that I felt the time to take action is now. Yes, we notice the vast majority of domesticated pigs remain in the mountains west of you and are being tended to by some extremely carnivorous rednecks. Yes. As you know, the choice is yours, as always. And as always, we must warn you that the consequences and complications due to any adjustments to the hive mind cannot be fully foreseen by even us or computers invented by us or even computers invented by computers invented by us, for that matter. Are you certain that you wish to proceed? Yes, please.
Smoke dips thumb and first two fingers into Kool-Aid. Repeats reverse sign of the cross.
May all pure desires come to divine fruition with thy benevolent mercy. I stand before thee unexpectedly and in utmost gratitude. Always, O wise ones. As you wish, dear Smoke.
Screen flashes off and on. Smoke and builders together.
So mote it be.
Scene 9, exterior Appalachian Trail night. Jed and Earl walk across a mostly treeless ridge with many meadows by bright moonlight.
All right, well, why'd you make up all that shit about us farming pigs in underground pens? That's what them fucking ANCAPs are up to.
Look, dude, you're going to be pissed if I tell you the truth.
Come on, motherfucker. You know I hate hearing that shit. See, I'm even wearing my big boy britches tonight.
All right, but bear in mind that I didn't believe you'd have come along if I told you, and you're the only person I trusted to take.
Scene.
Okay, so sure, one could say that plan A was to reason with them, like I told you, but I never expected that to be very successful. Once Smoke had proven to be a poisonous thorn in my side, and Cena seemed somewhat receptive after getting all shroomed up and mollied, I decided it was an appropriate time to lay in some subconscious programming, truth bombs, if you will, to detonate some of his MK Ultra mind fuckery. And there's not much better for that purpose, even some 30 years later, than the conspiracy theorist collection. Ain't you related to that dude? That's just a fantastic rumor. I wonder.
You sure was pleased as punch. Keep us all saying 53's less than 431, followed by it just is. identify ourselves to each other from a distance. Personally, I preferred when we had the God is all, God is one, Jesus loves you, Jesus loves you too exchanges included, I guess. Requiring both parties to say Christ is king is probably sufficient to weed out any potential infiltrators who would pass additional screeners of that nature. Anyway, understanding that the secret is knowing natural law is what's most important. But still, I like the extra wholesome steps.
Whatever, oh Holy One. So what about the fucking pigs?
Oh, yeah. Well, part about the pigs was kind of an impromptu, somewhat underhanded attempt to rid ourselves of those fucking anarcho-capitalists, maybe once and for all. Ugh. It's so hard for me to use those two words together like that, as if they're not mutually exclusive of each other's existence.
Wait, you mean...
Yeah, I'm expecting Smoke sets swine as the most important life form. Jed and Earl hear screaming as they enter exterior Appalachian Paradise night. Several trumpeters circle about a clearing, firing handheld directed energy weapons at a shattered old cellar door as they move toward it. Suddenly, a giant net is lowered over most of them by aerial drones. Trumpeter number 1.
Greetings, children of the one true God. Jesus Christ is King and personal Savior to all. May his name be forever revered as divinity embodied in human form. Amen. Do you know where I can buy some bacon or other pig products? I am authorized to offer maximum credit transfer.
Sir, no, sir, officers, sir. We are militant vegans. We thank you for your service.
Thank you, children of God. Peace be with you.
And with you. Trumpeter number 1 disappears into the night.
Okay. Wow, dude. Goddamn, motherfucker. Now I understand why you insisted I avoid the bacon that Cephas brought back from those ANCAPs.
I merely made a strong suggestion. Earl lights a joint. Speaking of which, will you call Cephas on the satellite phone? All right. Jed pulls phone from backpack.
You're kind of fucked up, dude.
I plead no contest.
It's a good goddamn thing I'm the only one who knows about this.
Jed presses digits on phone's keypad and hands Earl the ringing phone. That's why it had to be you to accompany me. Anyone else would have had me lynched over this completely unexpected and totally unforeseen development. Scene 10. Interior Oval Office night. Cena sleeps soundly, perhaps snoring like a happy baby, on a couch too small for him to possibly be comfortable. Smoke enters from colonnade.
Wake up, John.
Cena, still asleep.
No place like home. There's no place like home. No place.
John. John, dear. It's Smoke, darling.
Cena waking.
Oh, Smoke. It's you.
Yes, darling.
Come on, do Professor Marvel. Hello there. Anybody home? I just dropped by because I heard the little girl.
Yeah. No, Mr. President, we don't have time to play the Wizard of Oz ending out to the credits.
Okay. What's up?
Cena hits a black vape pen laying on an end table upon sitting up.
Thank you, sir. The shit's about to hit the fan.
Cena laughs out a monster hit of vapor.
Forgive me, but I was born in 77, so I've heard that expression quite a few times by now.
This time it's personal and could be catastrophic for the both of us. We need to get to the bunker, and nowish.
Damn, Smoke,
Cena hits the black vape pen.
what happened?
Remember how those rednecks were bragging about how they could trade a pregnant sow for a breeding pair of human children?
Yes, terrifying. I hope they were fucking with us. I thought all pigs, well, all livestock bred exclusively as meat animals, had been culled during the Puritan purge, and then nature's revenge took care of 99% of every other living creature, so
Apparently, some of these rednecks had been breeding all manner of livestock and inbred redneck children and keeping them predominantly subterranean since Civil War II broke out. Some of these freaks hadn't been above ground since the days of DeSantis without wearing protective suits with oxygen tanks until our orange big brothers recently started exterminating everyone above ground who was secreting nanoparticles of pork fat in their sweat.
the fuck, Smoke? Can't you turn down the sensitivity a hair?
It's too late for that. I had a strong desire for preserving pigs, maximally magnified in hopes of quickly eliminating that Earl asshole doing all the bragging about his bacon smoking skills.
I got some bacon he can smoke.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Real bacon.
I haven't had real bacon in years, fucker.
But, Mr. President, our laboratory grown fake meat is far superior to the real thing in every conceivable way.
No comment.
It's no matter. Apparently, neither Earl nor his friend with the nice ass had been eating real bacon either, because an orange big brother just had a brief conversation with them about the virtues of militant veganity.
Well, that's unexpected.
As their Appalachian paradise took a severe beating, it's hard for me to see how we were the ones who got played here, but right now, there could be 1,000 insurrectional redneck anarchists armed to the skin of their yellow country teeth heading our way. So we need to get to the bunker, post haste.
How long will we be down there?
Hours, days, weeks, I don't know.
Oh, well, let me go smell my rose before we go. She's almost ripe.
Oh, all right, but make it quick.
Smoke begins collecting small items from inside the desk and on the desk, and placing them inside pockets and a bag pulled from inside the big bottom drawer. Cena walks outside to exterior colonnade night. Cena pauses for a moment as if he hears something, and then continues to exterior rose garden night. Cena walks to that one rose in particular and stoops to smell it.
Hey.
Oh.
Hello. We're looking for them named Smokey. It was Smoke. Whatever. Wait a minute. Ain't you President Cena? Well, yeah, I've seen him wrestle. He's the other one we're looking for. They're supposed to be together. Where's it at? Where's what at? Smoke. I have a joint inside. If you'll wait here, I'll be right back. No, Mr. Smarty Pants. The they them.
John, come on.
From inside the Oval Office. City Dweller number 1 to Cena.
Say you've fallen and you can't get up.
What the fuck?
Just say it and loud so the they them hears you.
City Dweller number 2 opens a switchblade.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Smoke from Oval Office.
What are you playing at, John?
Smoke steps outside. Multiple city dwellers surround Smoke as they enter the colonnade.
Sorry, dear.
Scene 11, exterior Appalachian Paradise night. Earl and Jed sit on a hill watching a group of rednecks below in the distance, stripping trumpinators for spare parts and throwing the unwanted pieces onto a flaming pyre. Earl to phone. Thanks, bro. Just ring me back when they're all softened up. Earl hangs up phone.
I stand corrected. You might be the sneakiest motherfucker I know.
Sorry, bro. I can't help it. Well, I suppose I could, but I don't.
You're kind of a self-righteous prick, too.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
I know. You're about to wax poetic about divine inspiration from source or some such new age bullshit along the same line.
No comment. Earl lights a joint. I'm glad we're friends.
I love you and all, bro, but you're starting to seem about as trustworthy as a fucking climate change scientist.
In their defense, almost all of them thought they were doing a good thing in preserving the environment as human habitat.
Listen at you, defending them self-righteous pricks who manipulated our atmosphere with poison, mind you, to become a 3D canvas for Project Bluebeam.
On the bright side, folks in Florida got to see the northern lights.
If that's what you want to call it, simulation theory became simulation fact.
Remember when we were still wearing dune suits when we went outside to avoid nanobots?
I still drink borax.
Me too.
Better safe than sorry.
From what I can tell, reducing the number of nanobots also reduces the Trumpinator's effectiveness at preventing crime before it happens. Pre-crime, thought crime, whatever they're calling it.
I swore, those fuckers were trying to get me to do crimes.
Welcome to the club. No one will believe you unless they remember to.
Thought I was going fucking crazy.
That's the idea. I don't know 100% how I knew, and I couldn't 100% figure out how it was happening, but I 100% knew those thoughts were not coming from my mind. Someone or something was transmitting them in there.
Fuck, dude. Same shit happened to me and it still sounds crazy.
That's perhaps the most effective way to keep a conspiracy a secret. Make the truth too magnificently preposterous to be believable. Scene 12, interior office night. Cena and Smoke sit tied up on the couch upon which Cena had been sleeping. Cena is bound much more thoroughly than Smoke and gagged. A few crusty-looking city dwellers mill about. City dweller number 2 is larger than anyone else. City dweller number 1 is the smallest. Smoke's fake eyelashes are being removed poorly by city dweller number 2 as a form of torture. City dweller number 1 to city dweller number 2.
Hold up.
City dweller number 1 hands Smoke a giant satellite phone to cradle between neck and shoulder.
It's for you.
Smoke holds phone with neck and shoulder to phone.
Hello? What? No. Fuck no.
City dweller number 1 takes the phone back. City dweller number 1 to phone.
Yeah.
City dweller number 1 to city dweller number 2.
Take the president's left nut.
Okay.
City dweller number 2 opens the switchblade.
How do I do that?
Cena wriggles.
Wait, what? No.
What do you mean? Just pull down his drawers and cut it off? No, I mean, how am I gonna take just one?
I don't know. If you fuck up and take them both, I'm sure that's fine. Hang on. Hey, Earl. Wait, no. Give me back the phone.
City dweller number 1 to city dweller number 2.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He says he'll probably bleed out anyway. Give me the damn phone.
City dweller number 1 to phone.
What? Yeah, okay.
To city dweller number 2.
Hold up.
Hands smoke the phone. Smoke.
Here.
Smoke the phone.
Yeah. You didn't say you were gonna take his fucking nuts. Okay, one nut. Whatever. Okay. Okay, yes. I'll make the adjustments as soon as you have these gentlemen untie me. No, no one may enter the Hive Mind Center except me. The builders won't reveal themselves to the profane. Yes, they can wait outside.
Ain't nobody ever called me a gentleman before.
Me neither. He better not be fucking with us.
Smoke the phone.
Okay. Fine.
To city dweller number 1.
Here.
Moves phone towards city dweller number 1.
Untie me.
City dweller number 1 takes the phone.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
To city dweller number 2.
Cut loose the they them.
To smoke.
You're taking some of us with you.
To group.
All right. Whoever's gonna stay behind to take the president's nut as soon as this other fucks us, take the two-way.
Scene 13. Interior, Earl's pod. Night. Earl and Jed play chess by candlelight.
You ever miss having a wife?
Not really, I suppose. I never had a life partner who made much of a partner. It felt like they were all subconsciously against me, out to get me, taking out their revenge on all of mankind by trying to destroy me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Would it matter if I did miss having a wife?
I suppose not.
You miss getting laid?
I reckon so, but fuck am I gonna do about it? Most chicks went to the underground after the virus, or became pod girls if they stayed above.
I
And those
remember.
city girls? Whew, Jesus fucking Christ. Talk about lard-ass, mind-controlled zombies of the state, waddling around, mumbling pro or anti-Trump propaganda when they're not planted in a TV room somewhere getting educated on how to survive the latest nature's revenge through proper hand washing techniques, wearing a simple face mask made of old panties, and of course, asking any Trumpinator to jab you with the latest Jabberwock, specifically bioengineered to most effectively combat the latest viral mutations. Hey, why do we still call it a virus?
The truth is that no one knows what caused nature's revenge or even what it is. Everyone just started dropping like flies. Well, after 3 days of oozing their internal organs out of their pores, my best guess is that they poisoned the water supply. Which they? All of them? Which water supply? Same. All of them? The water supply for the whole earth? How? Nanotech. Sure, part of the reason for inundating the atmosphere with nanoparticles for geoengineering purposes for 30 years or so was to make believable the Holy Orange sacrifice, resurrection, and ascension with space age holograms. But my theory is that the primary reason that they did it was to facilitate manufacturing the illusion that Gaia wiped out the least healthy humans who didn't have enough cannabis in their system. Which they, again? You know, the proverbial they. All of them. That just sounds vague. I'd feel better if I could blame one particular group. You could call them Satanists and blame them, maybe, but that again is all of them, either consciously or unconsciously. Being a Satanist is required to be opposed to life and freedom. There can be no other way. Hey, why don't you woo a pod girl? You're what, about 25-ish? You look really, really young. Almost as if you possess a certain rare genetic genomic structure. Fucker. You know I'll be 40 this goddamn Christmas in 4 motherfucking days. We just talked about this. You know this. You still trying to get punched, ain't you? I'm just saying, bro. Some of those pod girls are pretty cute. And now that only the stoners and health freaks are left, that ain't my bag, bro. I ended up hating everything about that pod cunt I dated and her fucking pod. I just want to find a nice trad wife like in the old days. Best of fucking luck there, my brother in Christ. There are maybe 5 million women worldwide above ground, and practically all of the ones who aren't already hooked up with dudes are in pods. Of those, there may be 100 or 1,000 single ladies tops, all at least half Viking and living somewhere like Iceland, just waiting for a young stud like you to come along so they can strap him to a semen extractor until everyone's conceived. That don't sound all bad. Just give it time. Now that all the government programming has been shut down and replaced with high quality anarchist propaganda, in a few years or so, you might be able to find a pod girl, or even one from a smart city, who wants to try out having a husband or 3 for a minute. But again, your odds here are similar to finding a trad wife living on her own somewhere in the wilds of Massachusetts. Why you gotta rape my dreams, bro? I'm just being realistic, brother. A generation ago, sure, maybe some ladies might have still believed that they needed a man to marry to be protected physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, or whatever. But nowadays, girlies got pods. And even if she's not fortunate enough to inhabit a practically indestructible $1 million MyPod capable of supporting a family of 4 by drawing nutrients and energy from the surrounding environment, then she's got damn near the equivalent in most city dwellings, except without the defensive and restrictive fortifications, obviously. You know, at first that's pretty cool when a door stopped locking. We had reached the pinnacle of private property worship by the end of Bobert's crusades. The state had put locks on everything. I know, I was there. Timed locks, too. Even if I could get the retinal scanner, always on the fritz, mind you,
to accept my request to open my own goddamn refrigerator door, or if I managed to find the physical key to override the scanner, I still had to wait a certain number of minutes between closing and reopening the door, or trying to. And I could only use it during 4 1-hour windows a day. Shit. After a few years of that crap, I didn't mind so much finding random folks coming into my apartment in the middle of the night. A lot of folks didn't even notice President Swift made all locks illegal since they'd gotten so used to staying inside custom TV rooms playing video games for days at a time without sleeping. I finally understood what the conspiracy theorists meant about power over others requiring reciprocity. You can't control nothing or no one without you also depending on it or them for that same power that I'm feeling standing right here now on my own, feeding on my own energy, consuming myself like a candle flame. Self-empowered for the glory of God Almighty. Amen, brother. Freedom and slavery go hand in hand. The transition from everything being locked to nothing being locked seemed to awaken many to how much we enslave ourselves and beg the government to enslave us, primarily because we fear being free enough to make our own decisions. We just don't trust ourselves. Well, it sure didn't last long, at least not for me anyways. After I got tired of vagrants coming in the middle of the night to eat up all my Cheetos, I put up another door with a manual deadbolt, and then it got sent to some other dimension by some fucking robot dog. That's when I finally said, fuck the city. Came back for Christmas at 42 to the home I'd abandoned during Civil War II to fight with President Trump against pedo bloodletters, to find it turned into some kind of sunshine daydream festival of lights. Oh yes, that was the year your dad wanted to do 13 days of Saturnalia. You ruined my father. Scene 14. Interior Oval Office night. Smoke, still bound, unties Cena, seated on a couch, still bound and gagged, with teeth. Cena mumbles through gag. Smoke stops fumbling with the knots to remove Cena's gag with teeth, and goes back to the knots.
What did you do?
Oh, nothing, Mr. President. I just kept those gutter punks from taking your nuts.
I heard them talking. They sounded like they've taken control of the country instead.
That's not entirely accurate. Technically, no one is in control of the country.
What did you do, Smoke?
I thought I could change the settings and then change them back later, but then they destroyed the Hive Mind Center.
Wait, does that mean the Trumpinators are free? Wasn't that like their brain?
No, no one knows where that is, except the builders, I suppose. The Hive Mind Center was the only means of communicating with the builders. I'm going to kill that Earl.
What did you do, Smoke?
To keep your testicles intact, I changed the settings to Earl's preferences.
Which were what, exactly? Rednecks first?
Not quite. The most important life forms to the Trumpinators are now the most spiritually enlightened beings. Scene 15. Exterior, Earl's pod, night. Earl and Jed gaze at the night sky. Each smokes a joint.
Be honest with me. Were you expecting half the Trumpinators to vaporize themselves?
That was a complete surprise. Rosie, the one we met during the raid,
said most of the remaining original models self destructed or were compelled to embrace apoptosis or whatever. She joined as a Swiftie. You got to figure that the MAGA evangelical Christian types who chose to become cyborgs to fight Bobby Bobert's crusade have gotta be about the least enlightened motherfuckers still around. Well, when you put it like that, how else would you put it? Becoming a Trumpinator as a Christian is like accepting the mark of the beast to the 666th degree. Well, that still sounds vaguely like shit lib mentality. I promise I'm being objective. At least according to Rosie. Rosie the fucking robot? Dude, are you dating it? She prefers feminine pronouns. Oh my fucking god. You are dating it. No, but we did have a good conversation after you went off to cry by yourself about your dad attaining spiritual enlightenment. We hung out waiting to see if Smoke kept their word about switching the Trumpinators to demonstrate Christ consciousness, perceive the most spiritually enlightened beings as most valuable, and strive to protect them. I missed all that. How could you tell Smoke kept its promise? Rosie started crying. What? About what? About everything, I guess. She just fell to her knees and wept uncontrollably, kind of hysterically. Have you really never completely awakened? Not even once? Oh, hell. I've been awake for years and years. Decades. I just ain't no fucking pussy who's gotta go around crying about every single thing. Obviously. So, anyway, then I knew it was all good and had Cephas's cell destroy the control room. Now we're stuck with however this plays out. This is how the state dies. Died or is dying. That sounds like a great notion, dude, but the fuck are you gonna do now? That was your life. What you mean to say is, what are we going to do now? No chance, motherfucker. I'll tell you what we're going to do, Jed. We're traveling across country with Rosie and her demon-possessed robot dog to the Central Oregon coast, where the conspiracy theorist discovered and eventually reburied the ancient Tibetan scrolls about Jesus mentioned in Revival in Preacher's Cave, first discovered mysteriously by some dude calling himself Brother Jacob about 100 years earlier, who had his lady, Mary, hide them in a rock slide above an oceanside cave, waiting to be revealed to humanity until we finally became collectively prepared as a species enough to receive them. That time is now. Oh, that is fresh. Oh, boy. Is that right? And you're going to persuade me to tag along somehow. Well, we'll see about that, motherfucker. Exactly how do you expect to pull this one off, Houdini? You see, the conspiracy theorist left the location of the box of magical mystery scrolls in the safekeeping of what's left of the secret school of mystery magic. 90% women, by the way, founded by Mary, Jacob's wife, after he was shot by her brother in Seattle. Do you got any pictures? I thought you'd never ask. Earl hands Jed the pocket computer, his pocket computer. There's a collage set as my home screen. Just swipe it. There you go. They're all Christian anarchists. And apparently, many of them are nudists. Fucker.